Okay, we ready? Yeah, let's go. Okay, Tom's going to be my passenger, but not yet. Just a little bit background about this harness. So some of you guys, Hank, I know you have used our old harness. I think we introduced this harness in early 2001. And the reason for the development of this harness, so we had a lot of people passing out, a lot of people getting sick, people not being able to lift up their legs. So Bill Booth went to a physician and he referred him to a guy at a university and said, this is our problem with our passengers, what's happening? So we took our harness, hooked it up. This doctor had a look, I can see exactly what's going on. You're restricting circulation. The way you used to hang would throw the passenger forward. We used to attach from the back. I think some passenger harnesses still do that. So there's no ways a person can be comfortable or lift their legs up on a regular basis unless they were in really good shape. So hence the new harness. And also when we are doing that, we took into account, at the time, side spins were becoming an issue. And so we said, well, we want our harness to address everything. So this harness did that. So putting the harness on properly really makes a big difference to the comfort of your passenger. I hear a lot of cases here where people break, injuring legs. Having the harness on properly as well won't eliminate it, but will make it easier for a passenger. But your passenger should be able to lift up their legs, unless they're really, really out of shape. But a good time to check that out is under canopy in the air. And all they need to do is really get their knees up. Telling people to lift their feet up, it becomes difficult. But if you tell a person, lift your knees up, and then they fly that position the whole canopy ride, when it comes to lifting their legs at the end, all they have to do is straighten their legs. They're not trying to lift their legs up the whole time. Trying to use their stomach muscles makes it difficult. So I'm going to go through the way, and this video is online on our website. If you go to Tandem, you can click on the video. We created a training video on how to fit the harness. So if you forget everything I said now because you hate listening to me, just go to our website and it's on there. Okay. Tom, I need you now.
What?
I need you now.
I wasn't listening.
Okay. We have the Y strap. You people have all seen that now. The reason we did this is because we had to. If you fit a harness properly, correctly, there's no ways a person will fall out of it. Every case where we've had somebody fall out of a harness, in our case once, Strong had one, we've had 2 cases where people almost fell out. And in every single case, a harness was not fitted correctly. If you fit a harness correctly, the person's not going to fall out. They're not even going to need the Y strap. But we've got it. So. Okay, so looking at the harness, a very key is where this fits, where this lower junction fits. That's the most important thing. If you get this bottom secure and this junction in the right place, that will help eliminate side spins, will help eliminate. Every side spin video you've seen, what's consistent amongst it is that you see the lower half of the passenger separating from the tandem master. If you put this in the right position, and as a tandem instructor, you arch, the passenger has no choice but to arch and stay connected to you. So our recommendation is you start here, because we want this to be in the correct position. Tom's asked us to put a dead end on you, so we don't lose the keepers the whole time.
Anybody else have the keepers fall off as you're carrying the harness? See? Thank you.
Okay. So what I like to do is I find out where I want this to fit, depending on the person's size, where I want this junction to be. So when I know my height, I know how I'm comfortable. So for Tom, I'm going to put it almost dead center. Smaller people, you can put it slightly forward, but big people, you don't want to be anywhere forward of center. So that I'm going to get the position right. I want it even. Wait, let go. I've got the front too tight. Okay. So that's about where I want that junction to be. So I tell my passenger, okay, hold the junction in place. I'll come to the front. This is not a belly band, it's a hip strap. If you have this too high, you want to have it over the person's hips. So no matter how hard you tighten your side straps, it's going to pull against their hip bone If you have it too high and you tighten it, what happens? It pulls into their belly. Now they're going to feel uncomfortable, and the harness can rotate around. So I keep that right on the hip bone there. And I tighten the back strap where I want it. Okay, you can let go now. The next thing, so when I tighten the top of the harness, I don't want them moving out of position. So the next thing I do is the leg straps. Okay, now my next, I want to position these where I need them. So if you have them too far back, you're doing the same thing. You're throwing the passenger forward. If you have them too far forward, you can't hook up and you put a lot of pressure on your own chest. So ideal position is to have the hook right on the top of the shoulder. So I'll position my back pad. And a lot of the time when you don't have these, a lot of people leave, they don't snug these up at all. So what happens when you hook the passenger up, this all bunches up in front of you. How are you feeling, Tom?
Good. Secure. Secure. A little shorter, but secure.
And the ideal position to have the chest strap is just below the breastbone. So feel that. Okay. I also see a lot of people doing this. That's really uncomfortable, especially once you hook the person up. So ideally, what you don't want to do is you don't want to distort the main lift web. A lot of people feel that, oh, if I don't get this, it's going to slide off. Well, this harness crosses in the back. This is not going to slide off if you have this just nice and comfortable. And another okay, so this, whenever we jump, our rules are, and I'm sure it's the same here, the harness should be in a jumpable condition before you get on the aircraft. I've seen some operations, they leave this all loose and they start tightening the people on the aircraft. You can't get the harness in the correct configuration if you're sitting down and you're trying to tighten it. The other thing is, what happens if you have an aircraft emergency? Is it your rule still here that you have to be hooked up before you taxi?
Before takeoff.
Okay, before takeoff, okay.
As soon as you get on board the aircraft,
Yeah.
you hook up.
Yeah, you're the only country that does that, but that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm comfortable with this harness the way it is. Another mistake I see people make is that the passenger sits down, they see this harness being loose on them, and they start saying, well, this guy's going to fall out the harness. And they start cranking down on everything, which we can do now, because Tom wants to. So I see this and I say, oh no, this is loose. Let me tighten this some more. Okay, Tom, don't fall out the harness, please. Okay, now stand up. There's no way he can arch. Okay. Under canopy, okay, the side connectors, that's all, you guys you know how to do that. But under canopy, as soon as I open, I'm squared away, I loosen my side connectors, I reconnect them, I'm happy with everything. That's when I start preparing my passenger for the landing, not when I'm at 100 feet. So at that point, I say, okay, lift your knees up. Can you lift them up? No, it's really uncomfortable. Okay, just reposition your leg pads a bit. So they can sit under canopy in a sitting position already. Now you don't have the problem of say, what I'm going to do on landing, get your leg up, and you find out that they can't. Any questions on the harness?
I have a question.
Yes.
Are you guys still in practice of tightening all the excess when you're sitting down in the aircraft, similar to as Mark had demonstrated? If you are, it's okay. This is the time to be able to recognize it and correct or polish it. When you tighten down the main lift web too much, that's making it tremendously hard for the passengers to be able to pick up their legs on landing. So oftentimes, one good intended decision, you're trying to make them more secure before exit, actually it inhibits their ability to do something correctly at a different part of the skydive, the landing. So if you're experiencing a high volume of landing injuries, that's probably one of the foundational causes of it, that the main lift web is simply too tight and the passengers are unable to pick up their legs as a result of it.
Yeah. And if you have the lower part of the harness secure, there's no ways they can fall out, because that's where that always happens here. Stand up. You can stand up. So looking at the size of the hole that's created by the harness, so if you have this too far forward, you have a big hole that can fall out. But if you got this secure, and this is pretty secure, and here, and low down enough, there's no ways a person can fall out the harness. And it helps them comfort, gives them security. How many times have you exited on a tandem and you find your passengers off to the side, the left or the right side? And that's normally because that belly band is too high. So as soon as there's any loading on it, it just sucks in. They want to de-arch and they flop around on you.
What's your opinion on, actually if I can show you. So if you come in so this V here.
Yeah.
Now, normally someone isn't going to have a problem lifting their legs up there, but if this V comes around here just a little bit, it can really help the legs coming up with people who are struggling.
Yeah, on smaller people that works great.
Yep.
But you got to be careful of the obese, the chunky people, because when you get that forward, you're leaving a huge hole behind.
Okay.
So slightly forward of center is okay for an average person. I remember, I don't know if you guys were around when we originally introduced this harness. We said on small people, you could have that main lift web right here. But because people were doing it incorrectly, not tightening the back straps or anything, we changed our thing. We wanted to rather have the passenger secure, so we brought it around. Having as long as you don't put too much, you don't have this main lift web coming too far back. It's like a skydiving rig. If you have it all the way forward, your rig's loose on your back. If you have it all the way back, it's really uncomfortable. You get a lot of pressure in the front of your legs. So,
okay, thanks.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Can I just make a suggestion? What I do, the people I don't need that much, is, and I've been doing this for years. What I do, and you'll have to try and just go with this, Tom, is once I've got the student, we call them student, not passengers, once I'm under the canopy and everything, I get them, because they're hanging to lift one leg up. And when you lift that one leg up, you can slide that leg strap up under the thighs. Once they've got that, I tell them, and they're like that, I tell them to do that with the other leg. And they slide the leg strap underneath there, and they're now sitting in an armchair.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the same with the knees up.
Now,
And then legs forward for landing.
now on the old passenger harness, you had to do that to get somebody comfortable.
But I did it on the old stuff.
Yeah, you had no choice, because if you left them up there,
I
they
do it
could.
with that as well, and it works great.
You can. I wouldn't get it too far forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you just want to get it just
Yeah,
out
just
of their
get it-
crotch, just
Just
get
it
her out
over
of the
that lip there,
yeah.
and it just gives them that added bit for
And that's-
lifting the legs up, and it
Yeah.
makes it so much
Yeah.
easier.
Just one quick one, just to carry on from what Dane said there. Tend to find not necessarily the larger women, but the larger people with the thicker set legs,
Yeah.
they do tend to struggle with it. So what I found quite easy, if you just stand on my toe foot for a second, if you pick their leg up, it puts their leg at more of an angle, and it
Yeah.
naturally does it without even having
Yeah.
to pull it round.
You know,
with the larger people that are struggling to move it.
yeah. Whenever I'm on the front ride, and I've done quite a few of them, all I do to position, I just lift I just do that, and without even moving the leg, physically moving them, it just shifts it around to the bottom of your butt. Okay.
Cool.
Is it really comfortable?
Yes.
Let's see how long you can wear it for.
I'm secure.
Okay, thank you.